Welcome to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. If you're listening on Spotify, you can support the podcast through listener support. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/Animal Stories for Kids. And now, it's time for our story. Once upon a time, there was an atlas beetle named Long. Long the atlas beetle was a strong beetle, and he loved using his strength and getting stronger by exercising every day. It was a great thing for Long that he lived in the rainforest where he was able to exercise as much as he wanted, whenever he wanted. He would build his agility by flying as fast as he can in between the thick trees. He would build his strength by helping out other small insects by carrying big pieces of fruit for them, in return for a piece of fruit, of course. Long the atlas beetle would also build his endurance by climbing the highest trees in the rainforest. One humid evening, as Long the atlas beetle was exercising, the rainforest became still for a moment. And then a few drops of water fell. And then, the calm air all of a sudden became windy. Long heard off in a distance a stampede of animals running by as the rain began to build up. And now, the ground became wet and started to get muddy. Long the atlas beetle looked up and saw the dark clouds moving fast, and he said, "Let me guess. Rainstorm, right? In a rainforest. Who would have guessed?" Then a jaguar ran by in a panic and yelled, "Flood! Everyone to high ground!" All sorts of animals hurried on by, trying to escape the flood. Long, not wanting to be stuck in the flood himself, began to fly away with the crowd of animals. He flew past trees and was getting to higher ground when, all of a sudden, he saw a bright green mantis stuck in some mud on the ground. And so he slowed down and stopped at the mantis while all the other animals continued to go by, and as the rain started coming down harder. The mantis, thinking the atlas beetle was going to attack him, became scared and started to yell, "Help! This beetle is about to get me!" The mantis was stuck and was trying to run away from Long, even though Long the atlas beetle was trying to save the mantis. The rain came harder, and the mud started to rise too, making it harder and harder for the mantis to move at all. When Long got to the mantis was confused. Long the atlas beetle was trying to pull the mantis out of the mud. "Wait, you're not trying to attack me?" asked the mantis to Long, as Long the atlas beetle was holding on to the mantis trying to pull him out of the mud. Long said to the mantis, "What are you talking about? There's a flood coming, and we need to get out of here." But Long couldn't get the mantis out of the mud. The mantis was stuck. Long checked to see what it was, and he saw that one of the mantis's feet were stuck and jammed under a rock. Long pulled as hard as he could, but he couldn't pull the mantis out. So he got down to the mantis's foot and tried to pull out the rock that was on top of the mantis's foot. Long the atlas beetle pushed and pulled, but the rock just stayed put. As the mud was rising slowly, the rain continued coming down harder. And just as Long was getting discouraged from not being able to move the rock by himself, he began to think about this moment as another opportunity to exercise and push himself harder to get stronger. let's get this rock out of the ground, yeah?" said Long the Atlas beetle. And he held on tight to the rock with his other feet on the muddy ground. And as he was pulling up, and his wings were out as well, fluttering and pulling up, Long the Atlas beetle said, "This is a great workout, eh? I love it." The rain kept coming down, and the water rose up more, but it also loosened the ground more under the rock. And slowly, with all of Long's strength, he was able to lift the rock up just enough, and the mantis was freed, and it yelled out to Long the Atlas beetle, "Thanks," and went away safe. And as Long the Atlas beetle let go of the rock, it dropped and splattered mud all over him. But it didn't matter, because Long was able to save the mantis by lifting up the rock a little bit. But Long's victory couldn't be enjoyed just yet. The water began to rise even more, and Long started jumping from one termite mound to another termite mound, trying not to get under the water and mud. And as he began to see what was making the water rise so much in the rainforest, he went ahead and he saw a natural dam made of old leaves and dried up sticks. "Amazing," said Long the Atlas beetle. "I can't believe how such a small pile of sticks and leaves can block all this water from flowing out of the rainforest." And Long flew over the leaves and sticks, and he saw all the water funneling and being jammed up on one little stick. The water was flowing, but really slowly at this point, and all the leaves and sticks were making the water flow slower, and it was backing it all up, causing the rainwater to flood the rainforest floor. So Long went to the stick and started to pull on it, but it was stuck too. And so he motivated himself by thinking about exercising again. And he thought to himself, "I'm definitely having the best workout I have ever had." And as Long was pulling and wiggling and loosening the stick finally pulled out, and all the pent-up pressure broke open all the dried up leaves and sticks, and the water gushed out, making all the water and mud calm down as the rains also calmed down. And as the last bit of rain lightly washed away all the mud, away from all the trees and the rocks on the rainforest floor, all of the animals slowly started going back to their homes, not knowing that it could all have been washed away, if not for Long, who was just exercising and having the best workout of his life. And the Atlas beetle lived happily ever after. The end. The Atlas beetle is also called Calcosoma atlas and is a large scarab beetle. The Atlas beetle is one of the largest species of beetles in the world and can grow almost 5 inches long. They have a shiny exoskeleton that comes in many colors like black, brown, and metallic green. The Atlas beetle has 3 prominent horns, with 2 on the head that curve outward to form a U-shape, and a third one that is just as long that's placed lower but curving upward. These specialized horns are used to fight each other during mating rites. Male Atlas beetles have horns, and the female Atlas beetles do not have horns. Atlas beetles can be found in Southeast Asia, and particularly in countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. Atlas beetles can be found in rainforests where they can cling to the branches of fruit trees. Atlas beetles are herbivores and can eat leaves, fruit, and flowers. They can also feed on sap from the trees and also rotting wood, and in some cases can eat other insects. The Atlas beetle has a main predator called scoliid wasps. Atlas beetles are primarily nocturnal, but can also be seen flying around and feeding during the daytime. The name Atlas in Atlas beetle comes from Greek mythology, where Atlas was a titan who held up the heavens on his shoulders, and the large size of the Atlas beetle can refer to this character in Greek mythology. The Atlas beetle can sometimes be mistaken with the Hercules beetle because of its size. The Atlas beetle, although very big and intimidating in appearance, is not harmful to humans and can generally be shy. Atlas beetles can live for a few months to up to a few years. Atlas beetles can lift up to 850 times their body weight. That's pretty strong. Have you seen a real-life Atlas beetle before? If you have, where did you see it? If you want to write to us, ask your parent to email us at animalstoriesforkids@gmail.com and tell us what you think of our stories. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for listening to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. If you're listening on Spotify, you can support the podcast through listener support. Plus, check out exclusive show-related content and join the community at patreon.com/animalstoriesforkids. Until next time, bye!